Hey guys, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and today I'm filming in a different location. And I have my kitty, because he's all curious about why I'm in a different room. Huh. The answer is because there's an evil bug trying to get in the window that I normally film next to, and that is clearly not okay. Nope, nope, nope. You know, you're clearly the cutest of the two of us. Do you want to do my book reviews? No. You don't want to be on camera. You don't want to be held like that. Really is what it is. Okay. Seriously, this book is like 3 inches long, and I'm pretty sure it's a wasp. It's got a sticker. It's pretty scary, and I'm home by myself, with the exception of the cat, who's 19 and is not going to do anything about a book. Help. Please send help. Hi, lovely and darling viewers. It's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. This is an adult novel. It follows 2 immigrants who start off in the Middle East and then end up migrating to other countries, and it's really an exploration of the immigrant experience and why people migrate and immigrate and what that looks like. So the story follows 2 main characters of Nadia and Saeed, who live in this Muslim, presumably Middle East country that is being torn apart by war, basically, but it's this internal militant struggle. And we see these 2 characters like develop their relationship and get to know each other. And in the background is all this stuff in the country happening. And the first part of this book, I really did enjoy getting to know Nadia and Saeed. Nadia is this kind of rebellious character, but also she dresses very conservatively. So she wears the head to toe black robes that cover her, and she does it so that guys will leave her alone and not hit on her, which I totally understand. But underneath, she's very much into rock music and rebelling, and she has a motorcycle, and she lives by herself, and she's got her own place, even if she's got to lie and say that she's a widow to do it. So I kind of like Nadia, but it also kind of annoys me that she uses this religious apparel to her own advantage when she isn't a religious person to begin with. And we see her continuing to do this even when she's no longer in a predominantly Muslim country, which kind of grated me. We also have Syed, who is very devoted, very religious. He's very devoted to his family. He's devoted to Nadia. He wants to get married, and he's definitely religious to the point that Nadia is the one who's like, let's have sex. And he's like, no, we should hold up till we're married, kind of thing. So I liked Syed more, but he's also kind of a pushover too. I like Syed more, but he's still not an incredibly likable character. And that's the main problem with this book, is that these characters are kept at a distance from us, so we don't ever get too close to them, and I never really felt too sympathetic to them. Like, when they're in the war-torn country, I feel a ton of sympathy for their situation, where they lose cell phone coverage and can't talk to each other anymore, and even the regular landlines go out. They lose their jobs because there's no economy or infrastructure to support them anymore. They lose power and water, and they have to dig latrines in the backyard, and there's this constant threat that their house could get blown up, or walking down the street you could die. And I get that, and I'm sympathetic to that, and that's why this first part of the book, where they're still in their home country, feels the most interesting, and the part where I care the most about these characters. There is a magical realism element to this book, and that these characters can just walk through doors and end up somewhere else. So they can't just like pick where they're going. Each door kind of just appears and it has its own destination. And there is tons of politics and stuff about defending the doors and which doors are worth defending. So like a door from Greece to Syria is not going to be defended as strongly as the other side, the Syrian side, going to Greece. Well, we're never given explanation for how these doors appear or even really how they work. I did like kind of the aspects, like what the doors do to society. Like, if a door just magically appears in your house, how are you going to handle that? I mean, I would be pretty freaked out if my front door all of a sudden went to somewhere else that wasn't my own city, and if other people could just randomly walk into like my personal space. So I also enjoyed that part, and I enjoyed getting to see how different societies relate to immigrants. Like, the first place they land is kind of like okay, you're here, whatever, go off on the beach, basically. away from us. We're going to keep doing our own thing. This is our city. You do your own thing over there. Whereas some of the other places they end up, there is a lot more rebellion and more fighting with them. Things are a lot more dangerous. We start to see immigrants the longer they're out there trying to take things for themselves because, like, they need food and housing. Like, that's understandable. But the longer Nadia and Saeed are immigrants without, like, roots and without picking a place that's going to be their own and trying to, like, integrate to a society, like, the less I cared about them and the more I felt that they were being really, really selfish. Like, if you want to move to America and become an American, then become an American. Don't move to America and then try to change everything, is kind of my thought. So I had mixed feelings about this. And this book is more about, like, the immigrant experience than about Nadia and Saeed. There are also a bunch of little tiny, like, short stories in between the chapters where we're introduced to one situation for, like, a few pages and just explore different aspects of what immigrants look like. Some of it's historical, some of it's modern, some of it is the person who's watching, like, her entire neighborhood around her change. We get to see somebody who's from pretty good society deciding to go through a door to who knows where because there's a chance for adventure or something different that they don't feel at home. And I both kind of liked these short stories because they brought new nuances to the story, but also we don't get to see any of these characters long enough for me to actually, like, feel about them either. So the main problem I have with this book is that there's just too much distance. I didn't relate to enough of it. I didn't care about enough of it. I didn't care about Nadia and Saeed that much. I didn't care about any of the other characters. So I think what happened with this book is the author tried to take on too big of a scope and make it a more universal experience. But in the process, none of it really seemed like it felt personal at all. So it was just detached feeling. And I tried to weigh that against the fact that I was listening to an audiobook, which I don't get as engaged in to begin with, and the fact that I was reading this for work rather than a book that I wanted to. But I ended up just kind of apologizing for this book. So at first I gave it a 3-star rating, but when I really sat down to do the review and tear it apart and think about it, it ended up being only 2 stars. Like, this is not a book that I am going to pick up again. I'm probably not going to read anything else by Mohsin Hamid. Like, didn't enjoy it, didn't like it, only got 2 stars. I'm really kind of not recommending this book. I know some people like a couple of his other books, like The Reluctant Fundamentalist. Maybe eventually I will read one of his other books, but I'm definitely not about to be jumping into anything else he wrote anytime soon. So basically, if you guys have read this book, let me know what you thought of it. And if you liked it more than I did, why did you like it? And what are really good stories about immigrants where you actually have characters that you care about and can root for? Because I feel like that's what I wanted out of this book and did not get at all. So, yeah. Peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.